Hey guys, welcome back. So for today's video, I'm trying something new. This was actually inspired by Lindsay Rem. If you guys follow her, I love following her. She's another gluten-free queen. She does these videos where she just kind of catalogs things that she's cooking and baking and just random little snacks. And she just shares like videos and pictures, and she just talks about things that she's loving. So I want to do that more often if you guys do enjoy it. If you're new to my channel and you're gluten-free, I am so happy to have you here. I have so much gluten-free content for you. I'm going to link a playlist below. I have videos on what to eat in a day, what I eat in a week. I have my favorite gluten-free recommendations, the best alternatives, my whole story going gluten-free. I have a gluten intolerance if you guys want to hear more about that and how I discovered that. I'll link that video below. So I love sharing my experience with you guys because you get to hear what worked for me and what didn't. It's honestly been one of the most rewarding things that I've done on my channel. I'm so glad I started to do it. So I'm excited to bring you more in the new year, and this is the first one, so I hope you guys enjoy. If you want to hear about what I've been cooking and baking recently, please keep watching. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very much a live to eat kind of person rather than an eat to live kind of person. Comment which one you are. I love food so much, and I feel like I'm constantly planning my next meal or pinning recipes, saving recipes, figuring out what I'm gonna make next. Like, I'm just always thinking about food, and I love it. I think it's so much fun. It's a way for me to express myself, and I also feel like it's a form of relaxation. I love to put my music on and just make dinner and just kind of vibe out, drink a glass of wine. It's one of my favorite things in the world, and when I don't get time to do that, I feel kind of like off center. It really grounds me. I'm gonna link any recipes that are available below, but if there's anything that I made myself and I have a written recipe for, I'm just gonna put it up on the screen and you guys can screenshot it if you want, or follow me on Instagram because I'm sure it's on there too. So first thing, since it's like winter, it's cold, it's cozy season, I really love soup and stews and just all that chili. So one recipe that I recently tried, it was kind of a mesh of two different recipes. I made a chicken pot pie for the first time like almost a year ago, I think, and I made the homemade crust and I did the whole recipe that I found on Pinterest. Recently I made it again, but I did something different with the crust. It was actually a little bit easier because I used the gluten-free Red Lobster biscuit mix. If you guys haven't had this, it is so good. If you want to just buy a mix and make a good biscuit and not make it from scratch, because I know sometimes as gluten-free girls, we're always making everything from scratch because that's just kind of what you have to do if you want something specific. There are a lot of great mixes out there, and I try not to rely heavily on them, but I saw these, I had them before, and I was like, this would be good for a chicken pot pie. So I did kind of like a biscuit on top of the chicken pot pie filling instead of a crust. And it was amazing. It was so good, so comforting, so cozy. And one of my favorite meals of all time is tomato soup and grilled cheese. More specifically, my tomato soup. To be honest, I really like tomato soup, but it's like mine holds a special place in my heart. It's one of my favorite recipes to make. It's my family's favorite meal that I make, and it's just always such a big deal when I make it. Everyone wants to come over and have it. So it's really, really good, and I do have the recipe on my blog. I've been making it for probably like 4 or 5 years now. I made it a little bit different this time. Not really that different, but I added a bell pepper and carrots because I've been wanting to try adding a bell pepper to the mix to add a little bit of spice, but also I thought the carrots would be good to throw in because they kind of just get disguised and then you just have some extra veggies. I thought that'd be a good way to kind of get some extra nutrients in, and it definitely was good. I don't know if I'm going to do it every time because I feel like there was a little bit heavier of a carrot undertone than I was into. Maybe I'll just do less next time, but what I also do now too is I put roasted garlic, which is just an absolute must. So good in the soup. So basically what you do is roast all the veggies, and then you get everything in a pot on the stove, get all your ingredients together, let it simmer for a little bit, and then you use an immersion blender or a food processor, whatever you have, and blend it all up. I just pair it with a grilled cheese, classic combo. The bread that I used here is the Canyon Bakehouse bread, and you guys have heard me talk about Canyon Bakehouse before. I love their bread, but it has to be the heritage style. I don't like their normal sandwich bread. It has to be heritage. So remember that if you guys are trying to go pick up gluten-free bread. The best thing about this soup, and really any soup, is the leftovers. Like, I just love having leftover soup because it tastes even better each day that it sits in the fridge. I know some people don't like leftovers, and I have like such a problem with that. I don't understand you if you don't. Like, leftovers are the best. Like, having food made for you in the fridge already, like, heaven. I just love that. I definitely recommend trying it out. If you guys haven't tried my tomato soup recipe, I'm gonna link it below. It is tried and true, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you like tomato soup, you will love it. Throughout the time I was filming all these clips, I made the same meal twice because I made it I think maybe 2 months ago. It was so amazing, and I knew I wanted to make it again for a family dinner, so I made it again recently, and it was bomb. Okay, so I made this pot roast, and I honestly, pot roast was my least favorite meal growing up. If I saw that crock pot out and my mom was making a pot roast, I was like, oh gosh, why? But since I've been cooking, I've been trying things that I didn't typically like, you know, when I was younger or years ago, and trying to make it in a way that I will enjoy it, because I do think just closing yourself off to something is not the vibe. I am the least picky person ever, and I pride myself on that, because if I don't like something, I will still try it, and I'll try it a few times until I am absolutely convinced it's not my thing. I will try it different ways and try to make it work, because I just want to be open to anything, and I don't want to close myself off to any meal that potentially could be really good, because I love food. But so pot roast is one of those things. I'm in my head it sounds just not that great, but I probably could make one that I would enjoy now as an adult. So I saw this recipe by Summer Party. If you guys know John Party, the country singer, his wife posts a lot of recipes on her Instagram, and she made this, and it just looked so incredible. And the reason it's so good is that it's made in the Instant Pot, so the meat gets so tender, it just falls apart. So you could add potatoes to this, but I really love serving it with mashed potatoes on the side. And so I made it 2 different times, and it was amazing both times. It literally cooks in an hour in the Instant Pot, which is why I love my Instant Pot so much. So I'm gonna link her Instagram below. I also have it written down in my notes because it was just easier to look at it that way, rather than looking at her caption. So I'll put my note up on the screen so you guys can screenshot the recipe if you're interested, but it's Summer Party's recipe. I can't take full credit for this, but it's so bomb. So definitely recommend another meal that's good to make while we're in that cold season. It's so good. And then I didn't film this because I thought I'd be a little repetitive because I've talked about it so frequently, but in case anyone's new here, I made my turkey chili and cornbread. I'll put my recipe up on the screen because it's the best. And for some reason, I've been making this chili for so long, but this one was my best batch. I started adding red bell pepper, and that just took it up so many notches. It's so bomb. That's honestly one of my favorite meals, turkey chili and cornbread, or turkey chili and tortilla chips. Oh my gosh, I could honestly eat that all the time. And I have made it multiple times this winter because it's so good. And that's another one that the leftovers are just insane. The flavor gets better every single day, and it's just so bomb. So just wanted to shout out my turkey chili really quick. I know I've done it in a what I eat in a day and another video before too, and I always post about it, but it's so bomb. So I definitely recommend it. Also, I don't know if you can see her, but I have a little guest in today's video. I'm dog sitting for a little bit for my brother's girlfriend, and she's a little she doesn't want me to pick her up ever. I don't want to pick her up and show her to you guys. She's so cute, and I want you to see her, maybe if you're lucky, but no promises. But she'll growl at me if I try to pick her up. You know, she's a little boss lady, so I'm not gonna test her at all. One of my favorite things that I made recently that I am obsessed with, and I could eat 1,000 of them, is smashed sweet potatoes. I have had a renaissance with smashed potatoes over the last year. I make them so often, but I saw these on Instagram. They are sweet potatoes that are smashed, which I didn't think was gonna be a thing, because when I do my normal smashed potatoes, they're with little baby golden potatoes. But what you do is just slice them up and then bake them and then smash those pieces. So it's not the exact same as a normal smashed potato, but you kind of smash them as much as you can, and then they get crispy, and you do a little garlic butter on top. Oh my gosh, I could have eaten 1,000 of these. And what I did for the sauce was something I do for my carrot fries too. I've posted those on my Instagram. If you guys want to see them, go to my reels. They're so bomb. Oh my god, I haven't made them in a while. I need to make those again. For the sauce, I just do mayo or sour cream and then a chipotle hot sauce. It goes really well with the sweetness of a sweet potato and also with a roasted carrot. Oh, while we're talking about just little side dishes, I have a little appetizer that I made. Little, I don't know why I call everything little. That I made for the USC tailgate. I saw it on Instagram again. I honestly make recipes from Instagram so frequently. I've recently started saving things in a folder on my Instagram. I have just a recipe folder, and I pull from it so frequently. There's so many good recipes on there, and just so many good ideas, which I'm sure you guys know. But for the USC tailgate, I wanted to make something fun, and I saw this on Instagram a while ago, and I was like, this seems like the perfect football food. And it's this caramelized onion pickle dip. It's so good. If you like pickles, it's good, but I kept saying that at the tailgate. I was like, if you don't like pickles, like I don't recommend trying this. It's like, it's very pickly. But even people that said they didn't like pickles, which there was a few people that didn't, they still liked it. So I don't know if the caramelized onion balanced it out or just the creaminess. It was so good. What I love about it is that it's actually made with Greek yogurt. I thought it was gonna be like, you know, one of those things where it's like a block of cream cheese, mayonnaise, sour cream, but it's actually Greek yogurt. So it's a healthier version of a dip that kind of sounds, you know, extremely fatty and bad for you. But it's actually like, it's not that bad. It's like Greek yogurt, garlic, caramelized onions, pickles, some seasoning, some dill, garlic powder, like all that. It's not terrible aside from the fact that you eat it with potato chips, but like, you guys get what I mean? Like on the scale of, you know, tailgating dishes, it's not the worst thing in the world. Super Bowl's coming up. That'd be a good appetizer to bring. I think it would be a people pleaser. So I forgot to film my finished plate for this meal, but I made Ina Garten's engagement chicken. It's like a famous recipe if you guys have heard of it. It's just a roasted chicken. Like it's very simple. It has onions and lemon and just salt and pepper, garlic, all that. I love making roast chicken. It's one of my favorite things because it's so tasty when you make it. It's just, you know, good classic meal. But then I love the leftovers because I'll make a chicken sandwich with it the next day. And then what I'll also do is make chicken stock from the carcass and the bones. I don't let anything go to waste, and I love making my own chicken stock. It's so easy and I just feel really great about it, and I just feel like, you know, nothing's going to waste. But this chicken was really good. I did think it was too lemony. I probably would ease up on the lemon. Maybe not put it in the onion mixture. I probably would just stuff it with a lemon because it still gets that like lemon flavor. But the bottom of the pan, you do onions and chopped up lemon with the rinds. And I don't really like how lemony it was. It gave like a burnt lemon taste. So I probably wouldn't do that, but I did like the chicken, the cooking method, and the, you know, the cook time, all that was great. It came out nice and golden brown and it was tasty. So I think I had it with peas and mashed potatoes. I love peas. Like, do you guys like peas? I feel like they're so underrated and like a thing that like little kids don't like. So it's like a joke kind of thing. Like, you know, your parents used to make you eat peas. So the day after I made that chicken, I made my homemade stock. And with that, since we were also kind of in cold flu season at this time, really wanted to make a homemade chicken noodle soup. I had never made one before, being gluten-free. I had never even had a gluten-free chicken noodle soup. So I'm like, I'm gonna try this. And this is another one of those meals that like wasn't my favorite growing up. I never really enjoyed chicken noodle soup, but I, for some reason, wanted to try making it myself, and it was actually so good. I followed a recipe probably on Pinterest or Instagram. I'll link it below either way. I used rotini noodles. I really want to find like a gluten-free egg noodle if you guys can recommend any to me, because I don't know if this was the exact right noodle for it. My options are a little bit limited as far as chicken noodle soup noodles go, but the flavor was good, and I'm definitely gonna make it again. So next up, I made a really yummy lunch. I prepped some homemade hummus, which I love making. It's so easy and so nice to have in the fridge, prepped and ready for you. You can eat with veggies, you can put it on salads, you can have it with chicken. Like, it's just delicious, and really easy to make. So I'm gonna link my recipe below. That's one thing that I usually always reference the recipe because it's just perfect and I don't want to mess it up. I'll link it below for you guys, but then I also made some pickled onions. They're such a good topping and so nice to just have on hand. With all the stuff that I had prepped in the fridge, I even had a little leftover salad. I decided to make this really tasty wrap. I love these siete cassava flour tortillas. My favorite ones are the burrito size ones, but the smaller ones are available at most stores near me. I can never find the burrito size ones. I have to like go to a special store for them. So I only get them every once in a while, but the cassava flour is my favorite over the almond. I think the almond kind of falls apart a little bit. That's what I've noticed. I think the cassava is a better texture. Siete is a great gluten-free brand. If you guys haven't checked them out, check them out. If you're new, that's a great brand. Pretty much everything they make is bomb. But I just made this really yummy little wrap with salad and veggies, arugula, avocado, hummus, pickled onions. I topped it with some paprika. Really easy, healthy little meal that is good to prep in the fridge because all you have to do is put it together when it's ready, when you're ready to eat. Next up, I have my homemade granola. Again, I've talked about this a lot. I think mainly on Instagram though. I do have my recipe on my blog, so I'm going to link that below for you guys. Homemade granola is so easy to make if you guys haven't made it before. It's so tasty, like so much better than store-bought. I think once you make it, you'll never go back because it's just, after you realize how simple it is and also so much more cost effective. Granola is so marked up at the grocery store when in reality you can buy a whole tub of oats for such a cheap price. choice and make all your own. But I love having a little parfait when I have the granola in the pantry. It's my favorite breakfast to have. I just do the Greek Gods brand. It's the honey vanilla Greek yogurt. I'll usually do with blackberries or blueberries. Those are usually my berries of choice. And then I'll just top it with the granola. Also, the granola lasts so long in the pantry. As long as it's in an airtight container, I just store it in a mason jar with a lid. It will last for up to 3 months. Oh, also real quick, there's a really good little snack I want to share with you guys. I've posted about it a few times on Instagram if you guys follow me. But honey roasted chickpeas. Amazing. Oh my gosh, they get like syrupy and sweet from the honey, and they're also a little crispy. They are delicious. Such a good little snack, or a salad topper. So the other night I made gluten-free orange chicken. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've been eating the leftovers all week. They're officially gone now, so it's very sad, but it was so amazing. And what inspired me was I was at Sprouts and I saw this Ying's Chinese style batter mix. Gluten-free, light and crispy. I love Chinese food. I love tempura. I think I'm gonna use this batter to make tempura next because so good. I forgot to take a video like of the finished product, so I just have pictures. Made an orange chicken sauce. I think it was a gluten-free copycat version of the Panda Express orange chicken sauce. So I made that, and I did feel like it was a little too orangey, so maybe I would do the orange juice but no orange zest. You know, just test it out and see for yourself before you put the zest maybe. And I was stoked too because I just got an air fryer for Christmas. I'm like the last person on planet Earth, and I heated up these leftovers in the air fryer and it was amazing. They got crispy and tasty and just so good. So in my next one of these videos I probably will have a lot of air fryer recipes because now I'm starting to use it a lot more and trying different things out, so I'm really excited about that. So hopefully if you guys enjoy this video I can do it again and you guys will see some more air fryer stuff. But speaking of air fryer, I actually do have one thing in here that I did. So I saw this recipe on Instagram. I was kind of searching air fryer recipes. I was looking for inspiration. I was like, what should I make next? What should I make? Found this vegan mushroom sandwich where the mushrooms were made in the air fryer, and I think it's kind of trying to imitate bacon, kind of like a BLT, and it was so bomb. So you just marinate the mushrooms. I think it's like a maple syrup, a soy sauce, olive oil, and there's something else. I think there was miso in the recipe and I didn't have that, so I just didn't put it. But you air fried the mushrooms in that sauce and it was so bomb. There's just lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise. I think their recipe had a vegan cream cheese instead, but I just did mayonnaise. And I used the Char hamburger bun for my bread and it was so good. It was actually my first time trying their hamburger buns. But let me see, what else do I have in here? I think I maybe have one more thing to share. Oh, this, just real quick, I wanted to share my kale salad. I will put the recipe on the screen. It's my kale crunch salad. It's so delicious and I hadn't made it, I don't think since the summertime, and I was reminded how much I love it. Chloe's right here, can you see? There's a little face. I was reminded just how much I love it and how I need to make it more often because it's so damn good. It's just kale with this amazing dressing, dried cranberries, shaved almonds, hemp seeds. You can add more if you want. I think that's like a good classic combo. It's such a good kale salad. I love kale salad, so it's like the mixture of the sweetness with the leafy green. It's delicious, so definitely recommend trying that. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what you think of this style of video. I'm trying to bring you more gluten-free content in the new year because I just know that it helps so many of you guys, and that is the best feeling in the world for me, so I want to continue to do it. And if you have any recommendations or gluten-free videos you want me to film, I am so open to hearing from you guys, so let me know in the comments or just let me know what you think about this video. I love chatting with you, especially when we can bond over our gluten-free diet. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!